Welcome, everybody, to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. Here today with Alex Rudy. It's just the two of us today. I'm Alex Uwe, no Farbode, and we are ready to get started with the first podcast of the 2016 calendar year. Very exciting. Happy New Year to you. Did you have a good New Year?
Happy New Year to you too. And it was solid. How about yours?
It's pretty good. I think they're starting to blend together now. I'm more excited right now to talk about the all the baseball stuff that's now more relevant just because the calendar turned. So one thing that is at the forefront of a lot of baseball minds is the Hall of Fame for the 2016 season. There's really the biggest story is Ken Griffey Jr., the first ballot this year, and he's probably going to be north of 95%, right? Like maybe unanimous.
He might be the first guy to ever get unanimous, especially in a really weak year. I think many would agree. Ken Griffey is probably one of the most. It's not just one of the greatest baseball players ever. He's probably one of the most, probably one of the most beloved. You know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys. Not that many guys in recent memory who've had as much, widespread, wide respect and admiration as Ken Griffey. I mean, he's really the role model for the current generation of up-and-coming superstars. So I think, he's probably gonna be, this will be the first year, I think, several in a row where unanimous possibilities are going to be available between him. And then as Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter drift towards becoming eligible, I think we'll have three really interesting chances for that first unanimous, vote.
Yeah, and I think it's weird to think that there hasn't been anybody that's just stood out in somebody's mind, or for everybody to vote for a person. There's been a lot of really talented baseball players. I don't know if you've watched baseball at all the last 100 years, but there's some pretty good baseball players that have been around. And I think at this point, I was reading something that said, the fact that everything's less unanimous than it was before now is also pretty difficult to make it so, to build a case against a guy like Ken Griffey Jr., because there is no case really to be made. And if you decide not to vote for him, then you just look like a schmuck. So,
well, I think the only reason that a guy can really say he's not going to vote for him is that it's his first chance, and he's going to get it no matter what, so you feel like your vote is better spent on other players who you believe have a chance. And while I don't agree with that logic necessarily, I'm sure that's what's going to come down to. I mean, I think Baseball Hall of Fame voting is already pretty controversial among, hardcore baseball fans like me and you, and any random person who would happen to find this podcast. It's a pretty controversial subject. So a lot of issues with the voting and how the people who are eligible to vote are chosen, how long they can maintain their eligibility to vote, and just their general decision making the past in recent history, especially when it comes to the steroid era.
Yeah, it's not as silky smooth as you would expect. But let's talk about some of the other names that are likely to be headlining this year's Hall of Fame inductees. That's what I meant to say. So there's Griffey, and what do you think? Guys like Piazza probably, and these are the top percentages currently. So you got Piazza, you got Jeff Bagwell, Tim Raines, Curt Schilling, Clemens, and Bonds. That's the top 6 right there.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about a few other guys in this list, but just with those names, those are some pretty compelling names right there.
What percent do you need to make it? 75? No,
yeah.
It's pretty. 75?
No, it's not. I think it's 75.
Is that?
It's either 75 or 80. I don't remember. We're professional. We know what we're talking about.
You want to look that up while I continue my point?
Sure.
Mike Piazza is already at 69.9, so he's clearly overcome his back knee steroid allegations that have been spread. And I think at 69.9, going into a very weak year voting, I think he's going to definitely make it this year. I think past him and Griffey, there's really no guarantees. And this might be just a year where only 2 guys get in. But I would just say the guys who are on the ballot from last year and going into this year, the guys I would say should go in along with those two would be Bagwell, Tim Raines, Kurt Schilling, Clemens, Bonds, Edgar Martinez, Mike Messina, and then I would add Trevor Hoffman, and that would be my 10 that I would vote for if I had a ballot.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It is at 75, by the way. I just
Okay.
checked that out. So, yeah, like you said, pretty weak pool to choose from this year overall.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
especially
all
in
the
recent
new
years.
candidates, all the new candidates, sorry to interrupt, are like no brains, like no offense,
No
no brains,
brains.
not getting in.
Yeah.
All of very good at best players. I mean, Mike Hampton, Troy Gloss, Luis Castillo, Randy Wynn, Rudzielanek, you know, Mike Sweeney, David Eckstein, Brad Osmus, Mike Lowell, Gary Anderson. Those guys, I don't even know if they would make the Hall very good. Jim
The
Edmonds,
Hall of
Jason
Very Good.
Kendall had some very good careers, but they're not Hall of Fame. Quantity, same with Billy Wagner. All three of those guys were great players in their day and age, but I don't think they would ever really have. They would never. I don't think they're really realistic candidates.
Yeah, even just the
Um,
numbers are not comparable.
yeah, I mean they're like Nomar from last year. I mean, and I think Nomar is probably gonna lose eligibility.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
He was barely hanging on last year, so. But I mean, just looking at last year's Hall of Fame inductees were some like pretty like legendary pitchers that got inducted. It's the Randy Johnsons and Pedro Martinez of the world. So John Smoltz. So
Last year was a mega year, and I think it's a rarity that many guys get in. Not
Oh.
that should be made the rule.
something happened to your mic there, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say last year the the mega, um, the mega inductee list, relatively speaking, I think is a rarity and not necessarily the rule for how many guys you're gonna expect. You should expect to make it every year.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, if I was a guy like Mike Messina or Tim Raines, who have kind of been borderline guys that, the more sabermetric orientated voters have been gunning for the past couple of years, I think this is your year, especially Tim Raines. This is his ninth year on the ballot. He got 55% last year. I mean, this is his time. But which probably makes like a similar play like Kenny Lofton, who didn't even make it past 1 year, feel pretty annoyed that he got overlooked so quickly when he's probably comparable to that Tim Raines, relatively speaking. But I mean, yeah, it's just I don't think Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa are ever going to make it, especially not Sosa. And Mark McGwire is already on his 10th year, so I think this is his last year of eligibility. If I remember correctly how it works. Maybe that's not how it works.
I don't
'cause
remember
Alex
exactly.
Trent-
It's
Alex
not.
Trent was on 15th, so
It
I don't
has
think-
to do with percentages and years and all
yeah.
kinds of
it's some
stuff.
complicated. Yeah, Guillermo Martinez is another guy, like I just said, with Mike Messina and Tim Raines, who it's kind of the conservative minded guys versus the sabermetric guys. Conservative minded voters think a DH doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, but I mean the guy was the best DH of all time, so in my opinion, he should be in for sure. I mean, it's really hard to find experts who are, I guess, popular these days who aren't on his side to get in. He's probably one of the most most widespread supported underdogs out there.
Yeah, I think he's going to gain a lot of popularity this year.
Yeah.
I think I would say we covered a lot of these names though on this list already. So
I mean, I think both me and you, just to kind of wrap it up, are guys who don't really hold the steroid allegations against Bagwell, Schilling, Clemens. Bagwell, Clemens, and Bonds. I guess Clemens and Bonds proven. We don't hold that against their Hall of Fame credentials too much in our minds.
yeah, I think we've talked about that before too. Like steroids, maybe if you do it nowadays, that's a little bit different. But back in the steroid era, what are you gonna do? Like everybody was doing it. You're just gonna punish everybody? Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and
Not that makes it right, but it's more. It's not the Hall of the morally just. It's the Hall of
the
the.
Hall of the morally just. They should make that though. They should
Yeah.
make that. Along with the Hall of very good, which we will.
Yeah.
But
The
maybe
Hall of
we'll.
the should definitely be a wing.
Yeah, maybe we'll introduce our Hall of Very Good soon enough. Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this offseason with some current players now. The biggest deal that happened over the last couple of weeks was the Reds trading Aroldis Chapman away, finally, to the New York Yankees in exchange for 4 prospects. And this was an interesting deal for many reasons. The Yankees bullpen is now very, very scary. But it's not necessary.
I mean, it's the best. It might be the best of all time.
Yeah. And it's weird because, the Reds
think
really got what they got a lot.
Oh, I disagree. I don't think they got a lot at all. I think they did poorly, actually. And I think they would have done a lot better if not for his legal issues and the risk of suspension. Because, I mean, the prospects that the Reds got back are not top Yankee prospects by any means. They got 2 basically nothing guys. Rookie Davis, who is a solid pitcher, but the dude was in single A mostly last year. He's large, he's pretty young, but I mean, I just don't know if he's a decent prospect, but he was only ranked, I think, 10th in their system by MLB, by Baseball America. And the other major guy they got was Eric Jagiello, I believe, who is a third baseman who can't play defense and strikes out a ton. He hits decently. I think he played Double-A last year, but he's no young cookie.
He's no young cookie.
He wasn't. He also wasn't ranked in the top, I think, 8 of the Yankees prospects. He's 23. He'll be 24 in May. I mean, they're solid. He could be something, but both those guys could end up being major league players. But honestly, neither of them are ever going to be, I think, more than just depth or quality or replacement level players, in my honest opinion.
Well, with what the Reds are trying to do right now, I mean, Chapman, the whole Chapman situation, clearly...
The Yankees have the best reliever in baseball for basically minor league depth, and they didn't give up any of their best prospects. It has to be a win for them.
Yeah, but, considering the position the Reds were in, the Chapman situation definitely, it plummeted his value, relatively speaking, because there's a lot of uncertainty about how much he's going to be able to play next year. His contract is almost over, so, you're really not sure what you're going to get out of him. I mean, when he's on the field, you know what you're going to get out of him, but it's a matter of him being on the field.
About that, because if he gets suspended over more than 45 days, which if he does get suspended, I would say is likely considering the seriousness of his charges. I think they're allegations technically currently, not charged. He hasn't been officially charged. And then the Yankees get to take him to arbitration for the next season. So you get basically most likely nearly all of one full season, or you get 1.5 seasons. So I think more than anything, it was just the PR that drove his value so down, more than the actual playing time value.
Well, the thing about teams that want a top closer is they kind of want him to pitch during the season this year. But, just long term, I guess, it's all going to work out fine. Chapman's not done by any means. But I think the Reds, they're just trying to build as strong of a minor league system as possible and just getting as many young players as they can just to make that farm system even more rich. And we'll talk about another deal in a second that they made to do that as well. But I think, you talk about a total teardown rebuild. This is like Astros level rebuild right here, trying to get as many prospects as possible. I think some of these guys that you mentioned, they're obviously not there yet, but I think they got some guys that they can, develop into getting some kind of value. It's probably not major league position value as of right now, But that's all you do when you try to get minor leaguers is you're trying to create value.
I wouldn't say it's quite an Astros level, considering they still have Votto.
Well,
They
Votto's an
still
interesting case with his no trade clause, and apparently he wants to stay.
they still have Jay Bruce.
Yeah, but who knows for how much longer?
I mean, they tried to trade Phillips, but they still have him technically.
Yeah, and he has the 10-5 no trade clause as well, so that that's not the Reds' fault.
And to be fair, that was the right move for them to do, is to rebuild completely and as much as possible, because I mean that team wasn't going anywhere. But if I may move on to our next deal, I think they sold poorly on their best player, Todd Frazier.
I would say I would, and considering
his value. I mean,
yeah.
I understand he's 29. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, considering like how much of a buzz he made last season, like he really did not, like last year was definitely one of the more breakout type seasons for him, and then they got 3 players back, one of them being Jose Peraza from the Dodgers. He will be a starting middle infielder, so I mean they got that at least, and they got some other prospects too. This was a 3-team deal, by the way, between the Reds, the White Sox, and the Dodgers. And the Reds gave Todd Frazier to the White Sox, and the White Sox dealt 3 minor leaguers to the Dodgers. The Dodgers sent 3 different minor leaguers over to the Reds just to get that deal done. So, just in case there's any confusion, that's what happened. I don't think any team got worse, though. I mean, the Reds obviously are getting worse. Just they're building. They're just gathering as many prospects as they can. But like the White Sox, what they gave up, I think, is worth for Frazier.
Oh, 100%. I think it was a great deal for them. I think they won. I think they won it over. I think they overall won the trade.
Well, the only thing is, whenever you trade for a guy like that, and you're trading away 3 they were decent prospects that they traded away, pretty good prospects. It's always riskier when you have trading one player or trading 3 players away for 1 player. I mean, there's always risk. Something could happen to Frazier. That could all change in a matter of a year.
They only have Frazier for 1 year, so if he does have a career-changing injury, then they're off the hook. And he only makes $7.5 million. So, I mean, I understand it's a 1-year rental, and you're kind of the White Sox were awful last year. It doesn't really make sense necessarily for them to mortgage their future a little bit for.
I'm going to argue that in a second too.
But he's an MVP level third baseman. He's an MVP level third baseman. I'm not saying he deserves the MVP, but he's an MVP level player, and he makes $7.5 million. That's an absurdly low amount of money for what he makes. Absurd. Jeff Samardzija is about to make what, $15.5 million a year?
Okay, stop talking about Jeff Samardzija. He's an outlier. Stop talking about him.
But the comparison still holds true. And this is why this trade makes no sense for the fucking Dodgers. The Dodgers traded...
Oh, okay.
The Dodgers traded technically what the Reds got for Frazier, since the White Sox sent no players to the Reds. So why the Dodgers wouldn't just trade for Frazier and leave the White Sox out of it makes no sense. The Dodgers are in a win-now mode. Justin Turner, who is their current third baseman, who's excellent, can play literally every position but catcher and pitcher. So you could easily find a new spot for him on their field. They had plenty of other holes. They should have made that deal. And that was a gigantic error on their part, in my opinion, that they simply traded prospect depth for prospect depth.
I actually like the prospects the Dodgers got. One of them is a right-handed pitcher, Frankie Montas, who's a power pitcher who can be a starter, throws 100-mile-an-hour fastball that is durable enough to be a starter for them. That I like that a lot. And they got some very athletic position players, outfielders. One of them is Trace Thompson, so that's something else too. He played a little bit last year, and he's gotten some buzz just because of his relationship with his brother, obviously Klay Thompson. And
he's just a 4th outfielder.
I mean, he can start for not the Dodgers, but he can start for some teams out there, I'm sure. So I mean, the Dodgers are just, I agree. They could have gotten Frazier. That would have been awesome. But they're just kind of like cycling their prospects through and trying to upgrade,
But
like
there's no
slightly.
point.
I
Already
like the
have
pitcher they
enough-
got.
They
I
have
like the
plenty
pitcher
of
they
young
got.
talent.
I like this.
Young,
I like that pitcher they got though.
that's fine, but that's not like I'm not saying they did poorly, but unless for
No,
some
you're
reason,
saying they screwed up. That's what you're saying.
unless in a vacuum, what they got was fine. It was not a poor return, and I understand. But considering
They could have gotten
logically,
Todd Frazier.
they could have just gotten Todd Frazier
Yeah.
instead of just it's not a good deal for them. And I think similarly, the White Sox. I like this move. I mean, usually I don't like teams mortgaging future for win now. It's when I don't think they're ready, especially as we saw with my tirade about the Diamondbacks. But in this case, if you're not giving up top 5 prospect talent, which I don't think the White Sox did,
The White
top
Sox
5
gave up.
system,
Frankie
top
Montas
5
is
for their
top 5.
system,
Yeah.
okay, so you give up 1 for an MVP quality player at a position you clearly needed. I mean, I think that's a pretty good move.
Yeah, I think the White Sox did some good work there with that deal. And you said earlier that
You
you
can always trade him at midseason, by the
That's
way.
true.
Probably recoup 90% of what you gave up, prospect-wise.
That's true, but you said that the White Sox are not in a position to try to win right now.
That's what I would have thought before this trade, but when you really look at their roster, it's really not that bad. And their division is not good. And I think the Royals are a team that are destined to regress, in my opinion, this upcoming
It's
season.
their destiny.
So I don't see why they can't be a team contending for the playoffs this year. They have one of the best pitchers in baseball. They have a solid outfield. They just got Brett Lowry for pennies. He's a prime guy. I mean, we say this every year. He's a prime guy to break out and return to at least a player who's somewhat resembling what we thought he was going to be entering the majors. I mean, the rotation's fine. I mean, I don't think it's any really worse than anyone else's in the division.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Their bullpen's solid. Jose Abreu's a monster. I mean, Todd Frazier, Jose Abreu, Milkman, Adam Ian, Brett Lowry, Adam Loesch, Alex Avila, Avisail Garcia. Is that an amazing lineup? Is that Blue Jays level? No, but I mean that's solid. I mean that's no last place lineup. I mean, and the Quintana, Sale, Rodon, three-headed top of the rotation. That's solid. I mean, they have a solid all-around team.
Yeah, and I was going to say that Chris Sale is probably like the number one reason why they're really trying to push right now to win right now. Cause
for sure.
Chris Sale, like you don't run into Chris Sale type arms
100% agree.
every year. So you need to take advantage of this guy. Take advantage of the time he's on your team because he can be Madison Bumgarner good in the playoffs for you.
100% agree. I think that's a great point. So I don't see why they can't compete for at least a wild card this year. I mean, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the White Sox there. Let's go ahead and talk more about the Dodgers, another team in this deal. They missed out on some other trade, or not necessarily some trades and signings earlier this year that they didn't get done. Now they finally got into work. They signed Scott Kazmir and they signed Japanese pitcher Kenta Maeda. Kazmir got 3 years, $48 million, which is it seems a little bit high, but I think that's about where I had predicted.
He's also going to opt out after 1 year, unless he's awful. So
that's
it's really
true.
a 1 year deal.
Okay.
So if you think about it that way, it's like fine value.
Yeah.
I think.
And then you want to talk about Kenta Maeda a little bit?
I just want to talk about, he got 8 years, $28 million, that's probably the most fascinating contract I've ever seen in my entire life. Each year he gets between I think $14 and $18 million of incentives, or it's maybe between 12 and 18. So somewhere around, um, depending on how he does. But considering, I think incentives are only based on team performance or all star, um, or becoming an all star, or like those similar rewards. Like I don't think they allow contracts to have like 200 inning bonuses. I could be completely wrong, but I thought I saw that. Um,
Huh.
it makes this deal an incredible steal. I mean, there is a chance, yes, that he's horrendous, and they get 8 years of the next like Daisuke Matsuzaka, who to be fair was amazing his first season. But I mean, considering what Greinke got, this coupled with the Casimir deal, I think makes the Dodgers look like geniuses. I mean, people think Maeda is the real deal. This isn't like the yearly, Japanese guy who may or may not enter the majors, who people rave about. I mean, everywhere read says that he is um, a legitimately great pitcher. I think the only reason he wasn't any more hyped is that he's already 27, whereas similar pitchers of his level, such as Tanaka and Darvish, were young guys when they signed in the major leagues, or younger. But I mean, I think without realizing how he'll actually translate to the majors at this moment, that is one of the best contracts I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah, considering how much Masahiro Tanaka just got, 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
I think
was...
he got in the 70s, or maybe it was in the 116. I'm not sure if that counted.
It was a 7-year, $155 million contract.
Okay. Does that count the posting fee?
No.
Okay. So
no, not even.
I mean, if Kenta Beta is 50% of what Tanaka is for the next 8 years,
It's great.
I think that's a contract to be
Yeah.
fair. I mean, and 50% doesn't sound that good. I mean, if he's just an average pitcher for the life of his contract, that's a great, like, overall even. That's a fantastic contract in my opinion.
I agree. So, the free agent market is far from depleted, though.
Wait, can I ask one question actually before we move on?
Go ahead.
Why do you think him and his agent done for that little money
I don't
when
know.
precedent showed that? Do you think that's interesting that he wasn't confident enough maybe to go for more money than that and said he wanted the years? I think that's really fascinating.
It depends on player preference, really. I mean, he wouldn't have gotten 8 years anywhere else, really.
I mean, if he's the next Hiroki Kuroda, that's an incredible contract.
I think you've compared him to, potentially compared him to every single Japanese pitcher in the last 10 years, so that's good. Good on you. Let's go ahead and move on to some other free agents that are still floating around out there. Some big names still. Chris Davis, Justin Upton, Yoenis Cespedes, Alex Gordon. Those are the names that lead the pack. There's a few others. Ian Desmond is another one who has recently been tied to the Padres, apparently. So they might be closing in on him. Let's talk about the big ones first. Chris Davis. He's got $150 million plus offer, 7 years on the table, and he's still hanging out waiting for something more. Do you think he's going to get anything more?
How much was it again?
It's like 7 year, 154, I think.
So they went down from what they originally offered him, right? They originally offered him something in the 170s, and he didn't accept that either.
I think, no, it was a very brief amount of time where they went up into the 170s, and they're like, wait, what are we doing? This is stupid. And then they pulled it back
he's
down.
He's not gonna get any more.
So, here's one, theory.
He was one of the worst players in baseball 2 years ago. And I understand over the past 3 years, he's the top 5 power hitter in baseball. But
Easily.
that second year was utter. I don't even know what the word is. It was poop.
Well, he was injured, too.
It was feces. I mean, he batted way below the Mendoza line. You can't give that much. There's only so much money in years you can give to a guy who had that horrible of a year in recent memory. I understand he bounced back last year. I understand he was great the year before, but there's clearly a consistency issue. And I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, and he's not exactly. Is he a good defender?
Yeah, he's a good defender.
I mean, he's 29. I mean,
he's
I
you
don't
say
think he's gonna
you
get any more than 154. I don't think he's gonna get any more than 170. 170, I think, is the max that he could get.
Yeah.
170 is the max.
and he's easily top 3 power hitter over the last 3 years.
What are we
Easily.
thinking? Him, Stanton, and
Bautista probably just for
so
home
you
run
would put him
just for
over,
numbers.
You would put him over, let's say, uh, Nelson Cruz,
Yes.
Encarnacion, Donaldson,
Yes.
Abreu,
Yes. Yes.
Frazier.
Yes. He's got that much power.
Okay.
He has 50 home run potential every single season, and he's done it.
That's fair.
And he gets close even when he's not there.
And he's not a defensive liability at first, which is pretty rare.
Yeah.
Among guys, his power.
He can
That's
play
fair.
third a little bit too. He used to play
I
third.
didn't know that. That's interesting.
He played third a
I
little
think-
bit last
I think-
season when
I
Machado
think
was
he
out.
was originally a pitcher. Um,
That's a
that's
fascinating
fair, but
tidbit. Believe
at
that
the
if you
same time-
choose to.
I mean, I'm pretty surprised he hasn't signed yet, because the market's only going to shrink. I mean, it's already shrunk a lot as all the money's been spent on pitching, and I understand why guys like Gordon and Desmond have kind of waited, because one is older for a free agent, and one is off a really really down year. But Davis, Cespedes, and Upton, I think, should hurry up, because once one of them gets signed, I mean, the money's only going to dwindle, the market's only going to shrink, and I think, yeah, they need to hurry up with their agents, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Cespedes has been in links with teams for, I think, the whole time, and you haven't seen one concrete deal, even a fake rumor that, it was a misreport, really come up. So I'm pretty surprised, actually, he hasn't signed. It sounds like he's been pretty serious with a lot of teams.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with... These are star outfielders. These are like superstar outfielders. So you're not going to be able to just fill in outfield holes with guys of this caliber. Like if you want a guy to basically take your lineup and carry your lineup, they're there. They're on the free agent market. Take them. I want to throw out one of my possibilities that really excites me about Chris Davis.
Okay, continue that.
So the one thing that I would really, really love to see, it gets me so excited, is for the Blue Jays to sign him. Just sign him. Sign Chris Davis.
Where would you play?
He'd play first base. They don't have a first baseman. They have like Justin Smoke or whatever.
Encarnacion play first
He's
base.
a DH. He's the DH all last year, pretty much.
Chris Colabello.
Are you asking if you are willing to replace Chris Davis?
Was incredible last year. Don't.
Okay. Chris Davis, though.
I would rather them sign. Are there any good pitchers left? Even I'd rather them sign a pitcher.
Gallardo.
I'd rather them sign Gallardo.
They have a full rotation.
Gallardo is he's really young, kind of, considering how long he's kind of been.
Around.
I feel like in the majors, I feel like he's been around a really, really, really long time. He's only 29.
Mm-hmm.
That's not super old for a pitcher at all.
Yeah, but just going back to that, does that not just get you super excited? Like just thinking about a lineup where Chris Davis joins the Blue Jays?
It would be impossible to defeat that lineup. It would be impossible.
No, the Blue Jays can sign him. No problem.
I'm saying it would be impossible to defeat that lineup.
Oh, to defeat? Yeah, obviously.
Because it would be impossible.
You'd be looking at Tulo, you'd be looking at Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson, the MVP, and then Chris Davis on top of that is amazing. And the support around that is pretty freaking good too. You got Ben Revere and Russell Martin, and Kevin Pillar is pretty good too.
And
don't forget about him.
And what's his name? How never hits home runs.
Ryan Goins.
Him too.
Oh, they'll have Devin Travis back too. Devin Travis, pretty good.
Yeah, and the left fielder that got from the Phillies.
I said Ben Revere already.
Oh, you did say Ben Revere.
I
Sorry,
did.
my bad. So yeah.
Yeah. So, if there was ever a time for the Blue Jays to just say, you know what, screw it, we're gonna make our lineup impossibly good. We're gonna make it the equivalent of the Yankees bullpen. Go for it. So, and let's just really quick run through where you think or where you want either one, each of these players to land when it's all said and done. Chris Davis, I said the Blue Jays. What do you say? Where do you think he's going to end up?
You actually think he'll end up with the Blue Jays?
I really want it to happen, so I'm going to believe it.
I think he's gonna resign with the Orioles.
Okay, you're boring. Upton.
I think he's. I'm not saying this is a cop out. I will give an answer, but I think he's by far the hardest guy to predict. Where, in my opinion, I just couldn't see him going to almost any team. But I have to pick. He's really hard. Who did I have him going to? The Dodgers. I don't see that happening now. Crap. He's really hard. You know what? I'm gonna switch around. I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna say Davis goes to the Mariners and Upton goes to the Orioles.
Okay. That's a good theory too.
I don't see the Orioles signing on both, but I would love them to. That would be, I think, a smart decision on their part. But considering how cheap they are, I don't see that happening.
I picked the Giants to sign Upton. I think it's a very nice place for him.
I think they already signed Samardzija and someone else.
Well, I mean, there's money out there. There's money out there. If they want to spend it, they can get him. I don't know.
They signed someone else though. Samardzija and one other pitcher.
Cueto. Senior Johnny Cueto.
I mean, if they are Upton, they would be a beyond stacked team. I'll tell you that. But I just don't see. I don't see him and that outfield going together very well.
I don't care about that. He'll be fine. Yeah. So and then you got Cespedes, who's, as you said, been talking to a lot of teams over the last few months. Where do you think he's gonna eventually end up?
Yeah, Cespedes is another, I think, interesting guy to bring. No, because his age is, I think, who knows how old he really, really is, to be honest.
He's in his 50s.
He doesn't look 30, that's for sure. And he's a guy who relies on athleticism, I think, almost 100%. I think his game is really athleticism based, and who knows how long that will last.
Where's he going?
Yeah, sorry. Where is he going? Who has he been linked to?
Well, the Angels, but they're out on outfielders, apparently.
Angels apparently aren't going to sign anyone else in left field because even they're going to go with the Daniel Nava, Craig Gentry power combination.
Yeah, I know.
Whew. Where do you want to go, man?
I predicted this before. I still really want it to happen. I want him to go to the Dodgers.
I just don't know. I can't see them spending money after they've already spent.
You can't see the Dodgers spending money?
Okay. I can't see them signing an outfielder when they have Puig, Ethier, and Crawford all the pay.
Peterson, trade their asses.
And they have Jock Peterson. Like, where does Cespedes fit into that?
He will play left field, and they will do something with Carl Crawford to get rid of him. Or just keep him on the bench.
Forgot I'm going to the Rangers. That's an interesting spot.
Yeah, the Rangers, they could use an outfielder. I mean, they have a full outfield, but, it's just okay.
Who's their right fielder?
Sinchuchu. He's solid.
Who's their left fielder then? I thought he played right field.
Hamilton.
Does he really count? If they expect him to start every day next year?
If he's healthy, they will, yeah.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to say the Astros.
Okay. That's
a random pick.
That's another very crowded outfield, though. Like, you're talking about the Dodgers' crowded outfield. Astros have the same issue. They have a lot of outfielders.
They have Gomez and...
They have Gomez, Marisnik, Springer. They have...
I guess you're right.
Who's the guy that played left? They have Preston Tucker, too. They have...
I don't know if there's a lot of teams that really...
Yeah. I mean, there's just not a lot of teams that need outfielders, but these are guys that will transform your lineup. So I don't know why teams are so hesitant.
Okay.
They're worth it.
One of Cespedes, Gordon, or Upton will go to the Cardinals. That would be my prediction.
Okay.
One of those three are going to the Cardinals. I do not believe the Cardinals think that the Grichuk, Holiday, and
Piscotty.
Coming out on the third guy. Piscotty outfield is the one they want for next season. I don't think they're confident in that, and they shouldn't be. Those guys, Holiday gets hurt every year. The other two guys, I think, both had injuries last year. They're young. They both have Holiday's aging. I think that's the deal I see happening. And I think you told me that Holiday they're thinking about trying out at first base.
Yeah.
So I think that's smart because Matt Adams, I don't think is a long term first baseman.
He was looking like it, but then there was
he's
some
a very
issues.
he reminds me a lot of I'm so bad on names today. Who's the first baseman for the Giants?
Belt?
Belt. Matt Adams reminds me a lot of Brandon Belt. They're
A lot less athletic.
They're big guys. So
Brandon Belt's very athletic, though.
Power hit, but just hear me out. They're giant guys who just don't who play first base. Who don't hit a lot of home runs.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. So Alex Gordon.
So yeah, Cardinals.
Do you think he's gonna end up in Cardinals? Okay.
I think he's the most.
Yeah.
I think like a two-year deal.
That's one of the top choices I think that I would put him.
2 years, like 38.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a tough one for me.
I think he's a great fit there, in my opinion.
I mean,
and apparently
like I can see the Mariners maybe, or I can see the Cardinals.
To be fair, the Mariners could sign literally anyone. They need help at any position, maybe except for second base and Cano.
Well,
and DH with Cruz. Except for that, they need someone everywhere. So,
third base they're set. Kyle Seager.
I mean, yeah, but
no love there.
In this universe, we're assuming that Kyle Seager could play another position somehow. I'm saying.
Okay, that's out of nowhere. All right, let's finish it up. Ian Desmond, he's linked to the Padres. That's such a boring team for him to go to. You know?
I could see that, though. That makes sense.
I can see it. I mean,
you see that happen a lot in sports for like guys who are really good and have a down year. They have to sign with a really shitty team because they're the only one willing to pay what they think they're worth.
Yeah.
Like that, I can see that. Like that seems right.
Well, that's really probably what's going to happen. So, yeah.
But they ended up trading for Starlin Castro, who I actually think is a much better solution to that middle infield issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Diamondbacks too is another team that I would want to see.
They need to sign him. That's the team that should sign him the most, in my opinion. That's the team that like if I had to say this team is fucking up if they don't sign Ian Desmond, which sounds stupid considering how bad he was last year. I would the Diamondbacks are the team.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and let's wrap up our podcast by talking about the teams of the week. We got the Royals and the Athletics, the wild card matchup from 2 years ago now. Yeah. So this is the they've gone separate directions. I think the Royals have skyrocketed upwards, and the Athletics have plummeted since then. So let's talk about the Royals first. They seem like they're about done for the offseason. I think I saw they're trying to add a pitcher still, but, position player-wise, they're pretty much done, I think, right? Hello? Am I alone? Oh God. I have to talk by myself now. What's happening? Yeah, so the Royals, they seem like they're about complete. Hello? All hope is lost. Oh man. What is happening? Anyway, I'm so distracted right now, sorry. Yeah, so the Royals, they have their core. They have Hosmer, they have Kane, they have Alcides Escobar and Mike Moustakas for some reason are amazing hitters in the playoffs that hit okay during the season. So I don't know what their plan is going forward once those guys are gone. They can't re-sign all of those players. So they're in a weird position. They've made a couple moves going forward. They have a young shortstop prospect.
Hello. Okay.
You have been
Apparently
gone.
I lagged out. I can still hear you for 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Well, that's nice. So you're in the loop.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Royals going forward? Because they have their core, but then it's it's a very okay core, and then beyond that, what are they going to do after that? They can't re-sign all these guys.
Okay, well, yeah, that actually brings me to my main general point, is that this team, even though they feel young, because the Royals sucked for so long that all these players are kind of new to like the general fan. Like, first of all, they're really not that young. None of their star players are like 20 years old. They're all guys who are in their prime, and they took a long fucking time to develop, especially when it comes to like Mike Moustakas. I mean, yeah, and Alex Gordon, who obviously isn't on the team anymore, but I mean, those guys kind of like newish stars. They took like 7 years to go from top five draft picks to major league quality players,
Yep.
and then so they should be going in all in, win now, especially since they just won the World Series. So they should get some major money, cash flow from that. And second of all, Wade Davis is going to be a free agent next year. Moustakas is going to be gone soon. I mean, Kane, Escobar, Hosmer, and follow. They just, I mean, and then, so I think the guy who's probably the longest guy who's the two guys who are going to be on their team for the longest might be Omar and Fontaine, Kendrys Morales. I think Perez has a long extension. So they're in trouble for the future, honestly. And I mean, obviously not the future as in next season, but in the long-term outlook, unless they're going to suddenly turn into a team that spends a lot of money, they're going to have a lot of holes quickly opening up. And I think it's important to note that, yes, their defense will be amazing next year again. Yes, their bullpen will be amazing again next year. But they lost Holland, and I don't think they're re-signing Gordon. Sounds like they have a major feud.
Feud? I don't think that's the case, but okay.
I think they had issues over how much each other thought Gordon was worth. But they have two, I think, gigantic holes that they have seemed to taken no interest into filling. One, outfield. They have Lorenzo Cain. Yes, he's an awesome outfielder, all-star quality, great center fielder. But Paulo Orlando, and Gerard Dyson, that is an awful right and left field offensively. I mean, they're fine defensively, but
they're great defensively.
A team that just won the World Series should not be starting two fourth outfielders in right and left field. I mean, that's just inexplicable. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's just, I can't rationalize why they think that is a capable outfielder. I know they seem to be all in the low strikeout, high contact, low power guys, speed demons, but those guys are not starting caliber outfielders. And two, their rotation, I'm sorry, is awful. It's awful. It's one of the worst in the league, in my opinion. Vargas is useless. Danny Duffy is useless. Who knows if whenever Chris Medlin will pitch a whole season. Yordan Ventura was awful last year. Edison Volquez, I will never believe into being a quality pitcher as good as he's been the past 2 years. I will never believe it. He's 32. He took forever to become consistent. I'm never going to believe that he's going to become a consistent year after year top. And he's their number one, which is even worse. And Chris Young can only sacrifice babies to, keep his career going for so long. There's only so many babies he can steal from orphanage to sacrifice.
There's a lot of baby sacrificing in baseball, I find.
Yeah, the Cardinals.
Nowadays, yeah.
The kings of the Indian, Native American burial.
The Indians do it too?
Yeah. I mean, I think this team peaked last year. I mean, obviously because they won the World Series, but from the pure talent. I mean, they lost Zobrist, Gordon. Holland was injured, I know, a lot of last year, and Clear was kind of declining, but he was still an awesome pitcher when healthy. And they lost Cueto. This is not the same team as last year's World Series winning team. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that the Royals are now accepted as that team that's like the World Series champions, and they just kind of find a way to make it work. That kind of pisses me off. I don't like the Royals. I think that we've made that very clear. I'm sorry, the Fight Club. The Kansas City Fight Club. Anyway, I think we've shared enough of our hatred towards the Royals.
I just bring up one more point.
Okay, more hatred. Go.
Their farm system is not one to brag about.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing special in it. They got a few guys that are, kind of there, but yeah, it's very mediocre. Anyway, let's go and talk about the Athletics, who are a lot more desperate right now. They talk about a team really falling off. They seem to have peaked when they had Donaldson, they had Brandon Moss, they had Yoenis Cespedes, and that team seemed like it was going to be a really good team. I mean, like behind Josh Donaldson, at least, for another couple years. And then Brandon Moss, he's gone. Cespedes, they traded him that last year. It just fell apart so quickly. It was like one of the biggest teardowns, I think, for no reason that we've ever seen. And now, Billy Beane's kind of going back to that whole, we're going to go try to get these nobody prospects, basically. Try to build from nothing and create something. And, maybe you'll pull a Josh Donaldson out of your hat again. But I don't see that happening with the group of guys they have right now. They do have some good players in the mix, and their offense was not bad last year. Like, the A's still find a way to create production just based on who they put on the field. Like, when you're a sabermetric-focused team, you're going to get the numbers you need, but it's just really hard to win baseball games because it's not consistent talent. It's not sustainable. So they need to do something. They need to do something more. They need to get rid of like one of their biggest pieces and really not screw it up like they did with Josh Donaldson. So, I think that's what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to be Sonny Gray that's going to eventually get traded. I don't know if it's going to be Josh Reddick is still a very valuable piece. But they're running out of trade chips to be using that are really valuable. As for a timeline for them, I think they can be back the next couple years in a very competitive division as a team that doesn't spend a lot of money. I think it's possible just because Billy Beane knows how to develop a minor league farm system that is very strong in terms of value that you can use when you want to go all in. And then again, he can create a lot of value to fill 9 positions on the field and then turn out some good pitchers. I mean, part of it is bad luck because, we also thought Jared Parker and AJ Griffin were going to be a big part of that rotation. That just didn't pan out at all.
Yeah, AJ Griffin's not even, he's a free agent now. He got
released. He's not
even on the roster. I'm surprised Jared Parker got re-signed through arbitration, to be quite honest, considering his arm, his elbow, practically exploded recently.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's pretty interesting.
They did sign Henderson Alvarez, who the Marlins released.
I really like that signing.
Yeah.
That was a nice low risk, low reward signing. So was signing Rich Hill. So, so was signing John Axe, but they signed as far as like Mark, Wes Perinsky and
wow, that was close. Felix, you almost got that one.
Mark Pizinski.
It's Zipchinski.
It's not.
Yes.
Okay.
Trust me.
It's not spelled like that, but
it's not spelled like that.
I'm just saying, to be fair, it is not spelled like Zipchinski.
I know.
There's a silent R at the beginning.
I know. I'm not defending him. I'm just correcting.
Liam Hendricks, Felix Dubron, fine, low risk, high reward guys, but they gave massive contracts considering what they spend to Ryan Madsen and John Axford that were completely undeserved.
Yeah, that's always puzzling.
Those were awful, awful deals.
We can't say that yet because nothing's happened yet.
No, they're already awful. It doesn't matter.
Billy Butler is one of those things.
No, it's simply you can't spend probably $80 million combined on Billy Butler, Ryan Madsen, John Axford, and then trade Josh Donaldson. Yes, it is.
Okay,
trade Josh Donaldson for a bag of peanuts.
They screwed up. They screwed up big time. But
Billy Beane, everyone's afraid to, criticize Billy Beane. The guy has done incredible, incredible work in his tenure on the A's. The past two and a half seasons, he's been horrendous.
Well, think of it like he's really good at building teams. He can build a solid team out of nothing.
He wasn't even getting paid like hundreds of $1 millions. He's in arbitration currently. arbitration. That's unacceptable. That's where guys should be. That's the type of deal that you should be fired for.
But you can't just fire a guy that is repeatedly able to just reconstruct a team.
He made the great deal to get Josh Riddick, trading away that closer who was never good again.
Screw it, not Homer Bailey. Is there what the heck is his name?
But it's fine.
Andrew Bailey.
Yeah, Andrew Bailey. I mean, I think he's made nice low risk, high reward moves for like Yonder Alonso. Traded nothing for Brett Rowley to get him back, who's decent. Danny Valencia. So he's
great.
One of the best platoon players in the major leagues. He also has horrible, useless guys like Coco Crisp on the roster.
Coco Crisp isn't horrible. He's just injury.
Last year he was horrible.
He's an injury bug.
He was horrible.
Yeah, because he had back issues all year long.
He played 120. Oh no, he played 126 at bats. Never mind. I mean, Billy Burns, solid 26-year-old outfielder. He's everything that Billy Hamilton was supposed to be. I'm a big fan of him, actually.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's so much stink here that that overcomes that. I mean, Stephen Vogt also, guy they pulled out of their asses. He was an excellent catcher. Is he good defensively though? I'm not actually.
He's okay. He's fine. He can catch.
Josh Phegley is pretty well. His stats aren't anything to rave about, but I think he's pretty well received around the league.
Mark Canna's another guy.
Mark Canna. There's talent there. This team does have his magical out of nowhere guys, but Marcus Semien stink. Ryan Madsen and John Axford contracts and Billy Butler contracts stink. Recent trades stink. I mean, I think their farm system is nothing to scream, wow, this is an incredible farm system. They're just 2 years away and they'll be the next Cubs. They're in that situation, and I think they are a long ways away in this rebuild. A long ways away.
Well, it always seems like they're a long ways away when they're a team that can't spend money. And I'm just gonna close it by saying, Billy Beane definitely screwed over the A's, but he's also the only general manager out there that knows how to rebuild a team like that. He's the only hope for the A's at the same time, so it's a weird situation.
This is why the MLB needs to force the Giants to let them move to a new stadium in San Jose.
You mean the A's?
Yeah, MLB, no, because the Giants, the reason the A's are still playing in the Coliseum.
I thought the A's are getting a new stadium.
No, the reason that they have not is because the Giants own the San Jose rights as part of their territory.
Oh.
And that's where the new stadium's going to be. And so the A's cannot move because obviously the Giants aren't going to let them move and get a new stadium because that would take away fans from them. The MLB, I think, needs to step in and say, for the sake of the team, that needs to happen because a team in California shouldn't, which is the most popular state in the country.
It's a pretty popular state.
Shouldn't be struggling financially, and shouldn't have to be this cheap. I understand why the Marlins, under their evil owner Jeffrey Loria, doesn't spend money. I understand why he was a cheap bastard. I understand why the Rockies, in a not very particularly profitable baseball market, don't spend a lot of money. I understand why the Rays, who built the stadium in a horrendous location and has been tampered by and been hurt by both the area they are in and their stadium, can't spend that much money. There's no reason a team in the Bay Area should be really this constricted by having to spend money. There's no reason.
Yeah, and that's going to be a battle that'll be fought for a lot longer, a lot larger scale than just what they can do to rebuild the roster. So we won't talk about that really much more. So yeah, basically they got a lot of problems. And that's how I summed it up there. Is that accurate?
I think that's the best way it's been put all night.
Yeah. All right. I think we've gone on long enough. We're going to end this podcast off. Thank you all for joining us. As always, you can, follow us on Twitter and tweet us at WPB_podcast. I was struggling there for some reason to remember that. It's been a couple weeks. You can also check us out on our website. I'll have the link for that down below. A couple other links as well that you can check out and play with if you like. Leave a comment. Let us know how we did. Do all the things that give us feedback. It's very much appreciated. That is all we have for today, though. Happy New Year again. We'll see you back next week. Farbo's not here today, so this is your lucky day. As always, Rudy.